Okay, YouTubers, this is Joe from ArtAlienTV. Another game of interplanetary I Spy going on here today, and we're not looking at Mars or the Moon, we are looking at Europa. And in particular, this image here, PIA 21431, highest resolution Europa image on and mosaic from Galileo. Okay, interesting image this. I've got lots of links for you here. I've also got the main mission page here with the photo journal with all the Galileo photographs. A lot of these are diagrams and things like that, giving you the sort of makeup of the surface and the subsurface water. Okay, things like this here. You can have a look at these. You can download the smaller version or the larger version depending on how much space you've got on your device, so that's no problem. And it really is quite interesting. This it's about the same size as our moon, or just a bit smaller, I think, and is a possible place for alien life, mainly because it has an icy surface, and below that ice is liquid water, and it also has, funny enough, an oxygen atmosphere. So it may well harbour life. What that life may consist of is another matter. It may be very primitive microbial life, but there could be things like crustaceans living under the water, in the water, under the ice. There could be fish, there could be all manner of things down there. Who knows? But it is a very interesting place, and I've had this image for quite some time now. This was published a while back, and I downloaded this one here, and I've got it in a folder to show you now, and I found what looks like a strange tower-like structure. Now, why would there be a strange tower-like structure on a planetoid or moon that's covered in ice? It doesn't make any sense at all. But I'm going to show you it anyway. This may well turn out to be a natural structure and maybe a trick of the image. It may be some kind of image anomaly, or I don't think it is an image anomaly, but it may just be a trick of the light and shadow. I'll show you the raw image here first, and this may take a minute to load up. Oh no, here we go, it's loaded up straight away. And this is made up of a bunch of separate images that are kind of stitched together in a long sort of diagonal line here. This is cool. There's some weird stuff in here, and it does look like ice, these ridges of ice with kind of long cracks and crevasses in between them, like here. We carry on going up. There's a nice long straight one there. Keep going up, and we get to this ridge line here, near the top. It's on this one here. It's actually near the middle. Okay. And we have a very strange box-like structure here, sticking up there. I don't know if you can see that. Just there, sticking up, and a rather strange tower-like structure here. Now, this isn't lined up, so I did do a rotation of this just to straighten it out, so that a lot of these things look parallel to us when we look at them. And here we have it. Let's look at it again. Box structure here, and a tower structure here. Now, this may be an optical illusion. This may be part of the area behind it. But when you look at this in context and brighten it up a bit and really add some brightness to the image, it looks like a tower-like structure. Okay, I'll show you the clip I took. Now, when you get too close to this, it doesn't get very sharp, because obviously this image was taken from thousands of miles away, probably hundreds of thousands of miles away, possibly. But it's apparently the closest flyby that they did. Let's have a look at quickly look at the page here and see what it says down here. The topmost footprint is the highest resolution image taken by Galileo at Europa. It was obtained at the original image scale of 19 feet, 6 meters per pixel. Blah blah blah. It doesn't say how far away it was when it took it. It may have only been hundreds of miles away. Above the surface, who knows? The top images provided original resolution. Yeah, it doesn't give you a height. There may be in here an altitude somewhere, but it doesn't seem to be. Okay, so we don't really know how far away it was, but that's largely irrelevant, because of course probes like Galileo and all the other space probes we send up have massive zoom lenses on their various instruments like cameras and stuff, so they have a telescopic lens, so they can zoom in from a long way off. And with digital technology now, it can read very small parts of light in the spectrum, and even planets or planetoids that are very dark can look much brighter, because obviously they're using advanced digital technology to read the light from these planetoids and moons. Okay, well, let me just show you the folder again anyway. I've got these clips here. I'll show you a raw clip. And you've got to kind of let your eyes adjust, because this is a bit fuzzy. It's not sharp. But we have this box. I've done nothing to this. There's a box here. You can see a square with a kind of almost square hole in it there. And some straight structures here, going along here. And then we have this thing. Now, this looks like a tall tower-like structure. And it's black. Is it because it's in shadow? Don't know, probably. It kind of looks like the light's coming from this direction, and this is a kind of dark shadow here. It doesn't make a lot of visual sense when you look at it, and it's very different from the images we're used to looking at from Mars and our moon, and images like that. It's a bit weird to get your head round, and it kind of looks better from this distance. If you get too close, as I said before, it does blur out and it kind of gets fuzzy and hard to make out what you're looking at. You've got this ridge line along here. There's the box-like structure. And I've highlighted this tower-like thing here. Now, it seems, you've got this kind of ridge in front of, you've got this long ridge here, but there's a smaller kind of little ridge here. And this thing sticks up from it, perfectly straight, either side, with a kind of roof-like structure to it. Now, is that joined to the area behind? It kind of looks like it does. So it may not be perfectly straight and upright. It may be sloping backwards towards this ridge behind, if it is behind. Now, if you look at this little ridge here, it kind of looks like it goes straight up and join onto there. So actually, this may well go straight up, and it's got a kind of point to it. Very odd indeed. And there's a weird kind of, what would you call it? Like a weird shape here. I don't know if you see it, like a little arrow point there, with a kind of rectangular part and another rectangular part there. Very odd. Now, of course, I've enlarged this, and it's from a high resolution image, but still not a brilliantly clear image like you would expect to see from the MRO, like the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. It's not as good as that, but it's not bad. So some of this distortion is actually where the image has been compressed. You can see some compression lines running through here. But it doesn't take away from the fact that there is a tower-like structure. It may well be joined to this thing here. But why does it look like that? Is there a reason for that? Very odd indeed. This has been sitting on my desktop for ages actually, and I've been meaning to get round to this. I'll show you a close-up of it. I've done a blue filter on it just to make it easier to see. You've got this coming straight up from here, and what seems to be some structures on the top of it here, and it's kind of like a roof shape on top. Very odd. Why would it do that? Why would a natural structure do that? It doesn't look entirely natural to me. I could be wrong. It may, like I said, just be a trick of the angles and the light and that sort of thing, but generally shadows form in the way they do because objects are shaped in the way they are, and often when you see a cube-like or a rectangular or rectilinear structure, it's not just because the shadows are weird or fake, it's because it's actually there. Sometimes you have to trust your own eyes, and you have to have some faith in the images we're getting. Of course, this is a composite image, and it's been rotated and probably mucked around with it a little bit, but on the whole it does seem fairly genuine, because you can actually get these images separately on the main page and look at them. If you run through, I'll have links to all these pages, of course, as I always do. This is the photojournal for this mission, and you can go through all these and look at the separate images. Some of them are in high detail, really quite sharp, and some of them are kind of a bit fuzzy. Some are taken from a long way away, and some are taken from closer up and zoomed in. So, well worth a look. I mean, this may just turn out to be a natural structure, but to me it looks like a tower. Now, if you've seen some of my previous videos, this is the main Galileo page here. I'll have a link to that as well. There's this on Wikipedia. It just goes on about the basic kind of structure of the thing and size. Slightly smaller than Earth's moon, Europa is primarily made of silicate rock and has a water ice crust and probably an iron nickel core. It has a tenuous atmosphere composed primarily of oxygen, which is interesting. Its surface is striated by cracks and streaks, whereas craters are relatively rare. In addition to Earth-bound telescope observations, Europa has been examined by a succession of space probe flybys, the first occurring in the early 1970s. Europa has the smoothest surface of any known solid object in the solar system. Very interesting. The apparent youth and smoothness of the surface have led to the hypothesis, try saying that with your teeth in, hypothesis that a water ocean exists beneath it which could conceivably harbour extraterrestrial life. Okay, so there's an image of it there. You can get loads, I mean, you can just Google it and you'll come up with loads of images of Europa. So, I mean, is this real? I mean, is this an actual artificial structure that I'm looking at here, that we're looking at, sticking up here? Not sure. It's interesting either way, but this kind of square thing here, to me, looks rather odd. What is that? It looks like an entrance or some weird kind of building. And like I was about to say earlier, I mean, some of the structures we've seen on our moon are very odd, and they're black. They're not white buildings necessarily. Often they are black, and are very hard to see, and can only be seen from certain oblique angles. Now, this is an oblique angle. In other words, these images were not taken straight down, looking straight down onto the surface of the planetoid or moon. They were looking across the surface, showing things sticking up. And when you look at the image here, that's pretty obvious when you look at it. You can see the actual height of some of these things, and you can actually see the terrain pretty well because you're looking across the surface, not straight down on it, like you're looking at a map. This is actually pretty good, and you can see lots of topographical kind of striations and crevasses and little kind of mounds. And even in the raw clip here, you can see that tower. Once you know it's there, that possible tower shaped thing, and you can see that square thing. See that there? With a kind of hole in it? Weird. Really weird. And then there's a load more stuff up here, which looks like it kind of looks a bit similar to the surface of parts of Pluto, the sort of icy cracks and ridges, you know. That's what it reminds me of. It's almost like you're looking at sort of Arctic ice almost, you know. There are bits of missing data in here. There's like lines and stuff, you know, where some of the electronic data wasn't sent through properly. But most of it's pretty good. But this is the really interesting bit, the central part here. And that is weird. That is just weird. You've got to kind of think in negative, actually, with these sometimes. And perhaps, actually, it would look better if I showed that in negative. I'll do that now. That'll only take a few seconds. Let's load that up. Okay, let's put this one in there. And let's see what it looks like in negative. And obviously this has been brightened up considerably already, but you can see that shape sticking up there, and it's definitely there. The question is whether it's natural or not. Let's go to colour balance and flip it to negative. Doesn't really help, but you can kind of see those straight lines there pretty well. Let's darken that up a bit. Let's go really dark. Doesn't really help. Let's add some contrast in there. Yeah, you can kind of see it there. And let's have a look at that box, actually. Let's go back. No, I don't want to say that. Let's go back to the box shaped thing, because I did kind of almost ignore that initially when I did these clips. And now looking at it again after so long, it's been on my desktop for months and months, probably since the middle of last year. That seems more obvious. Let's put a selection around that and have a look at that. So you've got a clear right angle there and a straight edge. So, I mean, that could be an optical illusion, that square, I don't know. But to me, it looks fairly obvious without even doing anything to it. You can see it sticking up the kind of there. It's like a kind of bunker entrance or something. It's really odd. Now, why would there be stuff like that on a supposedly pure ice surface? Doesn't make any real sense. Let's flip that to negative as well. Kind of balance. Negative. Yeah, you can see the edge there and the line. It's not that clear, but it is definitely there. And the question is, what is it? Very odd indeed. So we have this tower plus a square thing. I'm sure there are other things in here as well which look kind of odd and kind of don't look like natural ice structures. Some of them are quite straight. Some of them are kind of intelligent looking, but of course it may just be the way that the image is turned out and a trick of the light. This could just be a shadow, but why would it be straight like that? There must be something there that's straight, sticking up from this little part here and going up to the edge of this here. Very odd. Right, that was it really for this one. Let's have a look at the close-up again. That one there. There we are. I mean, it is fuzzy. I appreciate that, and you've really got to squint a bit. And it actually helps if you look at it a bit smaller like that, and you can kind of see these straight edges a bit more clearly and more definition. But you've got these long straight lines in here as well. See, straight there, straight there. Very odd. Who knows? It could just be a trick of the light, like I said. But well worth having a look anyway, even if you don't think this is artificial. It's worth checking out this image. It is interesting. There are some interesting shapes in here. And it's nice actually to do a video about something other than Mars or the Moon. So I've enjoyed doing this one. I'll put links to everything I've got here. This is a great page. This is the main one with all the Galileo images on it. As I said, a lot of these are diagrams and not photographs. There's the main catalogue page there for the image as well. If you're new to my channel and you are into researching space images, then you can get my free app, which will go on your mobile phone, on your mobile device. This has extensive links and stuff to all the main NASA and European Space Agency missions, as well as the India mission and other nations like the Japanese probes that have been sent up. It will link you to absolutely everything. So if you can download this completely for free, and this will come up on your mobile device, and you can go to the research section, and you've got all the different missions here. And every couple of months, if there's a new mission, I will add it to the list. So it'll keep you up to date on all the galleries. So these are all the image galleries. So you can click through these and go straight to the images and search them yourself. If you happen to find anything that you think is really interesting and that might be artificial, either on Mars or wherever, you can come to my Mars magazine. This ArtAlienTV Mars magazine, this is called, on Facebook, my group. And you can post stuff on here. You can contact me via this page. I got lots of people posting stuff here, interesting stuff. I post articles every day. I have a number of people that also do the same. And a lot of it's Mars, but often we have Moon stuff as well, so that's cool. So do check that out if you haven't already, and you can ask to join. It's perfectly free to join. Only about 800 or so members so far, but they are quality members. It's not all about numbers, it's all about the quality, okay? So there we have it. So you can get the free app here. I'll have a link to that below in the description as well. But if you can't be bothered to do that, you can go to my channel on YouTube, ArtAlienTV, and click on the app icon just here, and that will take you to here. So you can get to it from there, okay? So thank you for watching, everybody. I will see you soon.